Yes, Claire, here I am joined by Michael Bloomberg, who many are saying is the unofficial US leader here at this climate summit. What would you say to that?
Well, that's not true. It's very flattering, but we have an awful lot of Americans here, governors, former governors, lots of people who really made a difference in our society, and they represent America's pledge, which is this group of a few thousand cities and states and companies and individuals, foundations, who've gotten together and say, we represent the American public on this one issue of climate change. When you poll the public, 85% think it's a very serious problem. We should do something, that America should do its share, and that's what we're going to do. If our federal government doesn't want to do it, that's not to say that the rest of us can't band together, and we're all in this together.
You've said tongue-in-cheek today that environmentalists owe debt to Donald Trump for actually spurring momentum amongst others.
Well, I guess it was a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but I think, unfortunately, the president doesn't see it the way I think he should. Hopefully, he'll listen to the scientists, which are almost unanimous in thinking there is something dangerous going on here. 16 of the last 17 warmest years in history have been since the year 2000. So only one in the last 17 years hasn't been at a record. And that's causing the oceans to warm up, storms being bigger. You saw what happened in Florida, Texas, Puerto Rico, the Caribbean. You saw the fires in California, Northern California, now this week in Southern California. Something's going on, and we have to do something about that. And I hope the president changes his mind after he really looks at the data. But if he doesn't, we're going to do this without him, because the federal government really doesn't have that much say. It's how corporations and individuals and local governments act. That's where you generate the pollution. That's where you use the energy in your home, in your company, in your city. At the state level and the federal level, they allocate monies, but they don't use the energy. And if you don't use the energy, then you have nothing to do with how the energy is created, and that's where the pollution comes from. So I wish the president would change his mind, but in the meantime, he does seem to be a catalyst for the 80 or 90% of people who want to do something about climate change, think it's serious, and he's galvanized them. And for that, I said, thank you, Mr. Trump.
Calling on philanthropists to come and fill the gap left by governments. Is that where we're at now with climate finance? Well,
it's only a small amount. The U.S. government has an obligation under this Paris Agreement to pay something like $15 million over 2 years for the measuring process. The countries have an obligation to pay for how you measure what's going on, so everybody can see whether you're making progress and whether you're working up to your commitments. For America, it's only $15 million. It probably costs more than that to write the check for the American government. But if they don't pay, I've said that my foundation will, and plenty of people have offered to help. I don't know, I need the help, but that's very nice of them. But the rest of it's nothing to do with government money. The rest of it's how you act. If you, in your home, before you go off to work during the week in the summer, turn off the air conditioner, you'll use a lot less electricity and lower your energy costs. If you can change from incandescent to LEDs and compact fluorescent bulbs, you'll have more money in your pocket because you will lower the amount of money you have to send to your power company. If you paint your roof white, reflect off the sun, reduces the amount of heat of cooling you need to air condition. Buy a more fuel-efficient car. All of those things are good for your pocketbook and certainly good for the air you and your children are breathing. And incidentally, it also may forestall a real cataclysmic event down the road where the earth gets so hot you can't cool it, can't keep it from continuing to get hot.
Thank you very much, Michael Bloomberg, giving us some concrete tips on how us as individuals can help contribute to the fight against climate change.
Thank you, Mairead Dundas, who was speaking there to Michael Bloomberg, a billionaire and the former mayor of New York City.